It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Man, I hate to beat a dead horse and I hate to say I told you so, but welp. Okay, look here. Okay, let's all jokes aside, all right, look. The Los Angeles Lakers lost to the Phoenix Suns. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, what did LeBron James did? LeBron James did okay. He did all right. But a lot of the Lakers' flaws was already predicted if you've been following my channel for a certain amount of months. And I did not like the makeup of this team. Okay? This team had question marks. Montrezl Harrell, okay, who was Sixth Man of the Year of the Los Angeles Clippers, had a fallout with the Los Angeles Clippers. He fell in LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers lap, and a lot of people said that, well, at that moment in that particular time, the Los Angeles Lakers won free agency, and I made numerous videos. I tried to make numerous attempts to talk to the blind witnesses, to LeBron James fans, the Los Angeles Lakers fans, that that's not enough, and Montrezl Harrell is unproven because of his lack of offense, okay? And Montrezl Harrell can't even get into the starting lineup. Hell, Montrezl Harrell can't even get on the second team, okay? Because of his liabilities. Then I keep hearing about Andre Drummond, Kareem Abdul-Drummond, all right? And I kept telling you guys in a couple of videos, I wouldn't be putting all of my chips to the middle, push all my chips to the middle because you got Andre Drummond's, all right? Which, by the way, Andre Drummond's may be a beast below the basket, but then that's all you get from Andre Drummond. And Andre Drummond's having a hard time to split minutes with Marc Gasol, all right? Who's another key component of what the Los Angeles Lakers have done as far as adding questionable talent to the roster. Dennis Scrotum. Let's not forget about him. Bring your tail over here, my friend. I kept telling you guys, Dennis Scrotum. I wouldn't put all my chips. I wouldn't push all my chips to the middle of the table because you got Dennis Scrotum. Dennis Scrotum has never been in moments like this. He's unproven, and I just did not have a lot of faith in him. I also did not have a lot of faith in Kyle Kuzma. Kuz. You guys said, the Lakers, out of all the talent that they kept, Kuz was the best of the best, okay? You mean tell me Alonzo Ball would not be able to help the Los Angeles Lakers, okay? All that talent that they traded for Anthony Davis, you mean tell me none of that talent could help the Los Angeles Lakers in the predicament, the coinkydink that they're finding themselves. They're one game away from elimination, folks. All that talent. I kept telling you about AD. I kept telling you guys, yes, I think AD is a great player, but he's been injury prone. It's been proven. It's been documented. AD cannot stay healthy for a full basketball season and also in the playoffs. But that's neither here nor there. You got AD, fine. You won the title with AD, fine. Okay? Not to mention Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Scrotum, Andre Drummond are in their final year of their contract. Well, Montrezl Harrell has a player option. Depending on how the market is in the off season, really depends on Montrezl Harrell if he can find a better deal someplace else. Which, by the way, he could have just chose the money and played for the Charlotte Hornets Because the Charlotte Hornets were foolish enough to want to somehow get him close to max money or max money. All right. But he took a risk. He took a swing, and he wanted to see if he can win a ring with the Los Angeles Lakers. He just bench riding. All right. But all these players are trying to trying to show other organizations that they can get close to max or a max contract. That's what they're playing for. They have the wrong mindset right now, folks. They're not thinking about winning championships. They're thinking about how their performance can contribute them as far as getting for their next contract. Dennis Scrotum turned down an offer for the Los Angeles Lakers because he wants to be a $100 million player. And we're going to have to wait and see how the market bears for him. Now, there have been rumors and reports that the New York Knicks, they don't have no issue paying Dennis Scrotum max dollars. We'll have to wait to see on that. That was many moons ago. Maybe the New York Knicks may have a change of heart as far as giving max money to Dennis Scrotum. I don't think Dennis Scrotum is worth max money. I don't think Andre Drummond is worth max. Andre Drummond, threw away a $100 million contract just to play for the Los Angeles Lakers. And you might as well say Montrezl Harrell likewise did the same. I don't see a market for him, okay? Because Montrezl Harrell is limited. He's great around the basket, okay? He can get you some offense, defensive rebounds. He can defend. But when you need points, you can't really depend on Montrezl Harrell as far as giving you points. And that's what the Los Angeles Lakers are lacking in. They're lacking points from other players. They're lacking 3 points. They don't have a they don't have a dependable 3-point shooter consistently. That's what the Lakers are lacking. Okay? And they're lacking in experience, which, by the way, let's get into the experience topic. You mean to tell me Rondo could not help or contribute to this team? You mean to tell me Howard could not help the Los Angeles Lakers? At least help them get a stop or two? The players that they let go of that were searching for, that were older players, older veteran players. Yes, the Lakers are going to have to pony up some money to keep these players. But you mean to tell me all them players that they let go of, those older players, and they replaced those older players with younger, more athletic, but less experienced, and in most cases, the players that they substitute them for are players that are trying to fight for a big-time contract. Okay? Now, like I said earlier, before I started this video, this loss, you shouldn't focus it all on LeBron James. LeBron James is in year 18, folks. Okay? LeBron James is not the same LeBron James that played in the Miami Heat. Played for the Miami Heat with, he just not. Okay? Hell, he's not the same player on his second stint with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's just not that player, folks. Father Time is undefeated when it comes to aging players. LeBron James is more of a facilitator than someone that's going to take the team on his back and say, okay, everybody ride on my shoulders. Everyone follow me. Let me take us to the promised land. Because, obviously I can depend on myself. Don't want to get into the GOAT topic. You guys list LeBron James as the GOAT. Me personally, I don't think he's the GOAT. I think he's a great player. But he's just not the GOAT. But that's neither here nor there. That has nothing to do with this particular video. Folks, do y'all realize the Lakers were so down? I looked at the score. they were so behind that if the Phoenix Suns really want to put pressure on their neck, they could have shoot for 90 points, and it wasn't even it wasn't even damn near halftime. They have nobody to defend Devin Booker. Nobody. Crowder. Nobody. These Los Angeles Lakers, the very same Los Angeles Lakers that people feel like they're going to repeat and defend their title, have a hard time defending Chris Paul. An aging Chris Paul. Chris Paul, who's also fighting injuries himself, who somehow has the same type of situation as AD, can't stay healthy when you really need him. And by the way, speaking of can't stay healthy, he done re-aggravated his shoulder. And there's question marks if he's going to be able to play in the next game. There's question marks if Anthony Davis is going to be able to play in the next game because of his groin. People say, oh man, if he can walk, he should just go out there. I get a sneaking suspicion if it doesn't get any better, even if it stays the same, if he's experiencing the same pain and that injury has not gotten better, he's going to be sidelined, because the Lakers as an organization they gave up so much for Anthony Davis for him to re-aggravate this injury and make this injury come from bad to worse, and then possibility of him missing games next season. So the Los Angeles Lakers, all they have is an aging LeBron James who's more a facilitator. If he can throw the ball to the right person at the right spot, and if that person can make that shot, okay, then the Los Angeles Lakers have a shot of winning the next game. If their shots are not hitting like they were last night, then you're going to see a little deja vu, where the Lakers are going to possibly be who are going to lose to the Phoenix Suns in the opening rounds of the playoff. Folks, there's a reason why that the Los Angeles Lakers had to go into the play-in tournament. They're so good that they're doing the play-in tournament. So, look, they're losing to a better team, a younger team. They have people on their roster that they can depend on. Jay Crowder, I know a lot of people don't have a lot of respect for him, but the way how he's defending LeBron James, I mean, he's not shying away from that responsibility, and he's a dependable scorer. That speaks in volume. And that's the type of players that Phoenix Suns have. They have dependable players that they can depend on. The Los Angeles Lakers do not. The Los Angeles Lakers have players on their roster that are playing. They're not playing for a championship. Now, if they get a championship, that's plus to them. But they're playing in a contract year. And those type of players don't really necessarily benefit the team because they're thinking about themselves and they're not thinking about the real goal, the team goal. But they're trying to play for a contract year. They want another team or the team that they're currently on to give them what they want when it comes to salary. I knew it was bad, and I knew the organization, Rob Pelinka, Genie Buss, I knew the people behind the scenes. I knew this roster was not that very good, which I already told you guys before the season even started that this roster is not that good. A lot of people hit me up on the comment section talking about, oh, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about? Oh, this roster is good. This roster is so good that there was a trade that could have happened where they was going to trade Dennis Scrotum or Montrezl Harrell or both of them that was willing to trade those players for an aging Kyle Lowry. You know the sticking point why that trade didn't go through? Because the Los Angeles Lakers did not want to give up on KCP. By the way, how is KCP doing? This phenomenal player, this prospect that you could not give up. How is he doing now? Is he really contributing to the team? Once again, another player that can't consistently give you points. Folks, this is the new NBA. It's offensive. It's strictly offense. If you have teams that can score at the mid-range or the three-point, around the three-point line, that can consistently make their free throws, then you're going to win more ball games than not. Teams that have a hard time scoring, they don't have a consistent score, have problems winning ball games. And that's what the Los Angeles Lakers find themselves in. I kept telling you guys since the beginning of the season, even before that, free agency, I did not like the Los Angeles Lakers roster. I also kept telling you guys that, it's great that they got Anthony Davis. But I told you and I laid it out to you, Anthony Davis has proven year after year after year after year, he's not a reliable player when it comes to health. He cannot stay consistently healthy through the whole regular season. Okay? The New Orleans Pelicans are laughing at the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh, that same guy that y'all gave up your whole entire future for, that really didn't want to play for us. I mean, that same guy couldn't even stay consistently healthy for us. And with him here, we barely got into the playoffs. And the Pelicans just purged the talent that they had on the roster, and they gave away picks and future picks that could help and benefit this roster right now. I'm not saying, oh, so you mean to tell me they should have, they shouldn't even given up on them. They should have just kept the talent what they had. You mean to tell me the talent what they had, and then plus they the future pick. You mean to tell me the Lakers would have won that championship last year? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they gave up so much. That's what I'm saying, folks. They gave up so much for Anthony Davis. And to be truthfully honest, they was horrible in NBA free agency. Montrezl Harrell, and you really didn't even have to recruit for him because he's looking at it as a personal vendetta because the Clippers did not want to sign him. Because during his whole time with the Clippers, he never got consistently better. He just hung on what made it work and what makes him tick. He was the one who said, "Oh, it's not me because the Clippers lost that series last year." It was Paul George. It was Kawhi Leonard. Which, by the way, a lot of people were fooled by that. And yes, they should take some blame for last year as well, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. But you know who else should deserve some blame? The guy that's pointing at Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, because he was a defensive liability. They were having their way with Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl Harrell could not stay in front of his defender, and his defender was having havoc over Montrezl Harrell because he's a defensive liability and he can't score. But this is the Lakers' savior. This is really going to put the Lakers over the hump. They won the Montrezl Harrell sweepstakes when he just simply fell to you guys. And he should have chased the money and went to the Charlotte Hornets because, he wasn't even with the Lakers for a full calendar year. And then they was talking about trading him to the Hornets. Ain't that a blimp? You pass on the Hornets to get close to max money to join the Lakers because you're chasing rings and championships. And that very same team is talking about possibly trading you to the Charlotte Hornets. Ain't that funny? Wow. Then you got Dennis Scrotum. Another individual that you guys swear up and down, oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's going to really contribute for the Los Angeles Lakers. If you look at Dennis Scrotum's track record, he's been with Atlanta. He's been with Atlanta. He was more of a system guy there. When the coach got fired, he was, pretty much useless to the Atlanta Hawks. Then he went to Oklahoma City. He couldn't. He started a few games with Oklahoma City. Once Oklahoma City traded and got Chris Paul. Chris Paul took the starting point guard spot, and he could never even sniff the point guard position, and he was coming off the bench. Then the Oklahoma City Thunder gave him to the Lakers. And the rest, they say, is history, folks. Dennis Scrotum has never been proven to be a liable player. The only success Dennis Scrotum has ever had is his time with the Atlanta Hawks. And he was more of a gadget type player. Okay. He will come in and give you some points, and then you put him back on the bench. You only utilize him in key situations, by the way. And now, ever since he went to the Los Angeles Lakers, he's got stars in his eyes. He thinks he's a max player. He thinks he's going to get $100 million. Some team is going to give him what he wants or close to what he wants in the offseason. I don't think he's coming back to the Los Angeles Lakers because I don't think the Lakers organization wants him. Okay? Because he was thinking more about himself versus sacrificing the personal goal and, falling in line for the ultimate goal. Montrezl Harrell, even though he said all the right things and he fell into the laps of the Los Angeles Lakers, it was more of a personal vendetta. He wanted to show to the Clippers that, oh, you missed a good one, man. You missed a good one, fam. I can't wait until I play against you guys. And he can barely get on the court. Because he's such of a liability, folks. But you can't cook LeBron. No matter, I'm pretty sure, people that don't like LeBron are gonna hand this L to LeBron James, and it's gonna fall to his feet. And people are gonna say, well, it's all LeBron James' fault. But LeBron James is an older player who's past his prime. He's really riding on Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis can get the stats, if he can get the numbers, okay, he's a good player in those circumstances. But if he has to do it on his own, he can no longer do that no more, fam. He's an older player. No hate. We appreciate, but LeBron James is not the same. You're not getting the LeBron James that single-handedly the when his second stint with Cleveland got them into the playoffs. He's not that player anymore. He's not the player that when he was with the big three, he was the biggest star of the big three when he was in Miami. He's not that player. He's not that player no more. That player is no more. He can't play on both sides of the court. He can only play on one side of the court, and that's the facilitator side. Okay? And he doesn't utilize a lot of energy on the defensive side. And in some cases, he can be a defensive liability. Because he's trying to save himself during the duration of a game. But, that's what all older veteran players do. Folks, LeBron he's not going to wake up one morning and return. You're not getting year 7 LeBron James. Year 13 LeBron James. You're getting year 18 LeBron James. He's an older player. But that's all I got. I mean, can the Los Angeles Lakers win the next game if Chris Paul... And that's another thing. And they're talking about a possibility Chris Paul is probably not going to be able to play in Game 6. You mean to tell me that y'all hoping and praying for Chris Paul to stay injured and not be able to play for Game 6? Is that y'all putting all your chips on that? Not Devin Booker, not any other player for the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul is the one that gives you sleepless nights. So, I mean, look, Anthony Davis, I'm pretty sure he's going to try to be there for Game 6. We'll have to wait and see. Chris Paul could stay injured and not and be possibility of him not playing in Game 6. There's a possibility for Chris Paul to do that, but I think the Lakers have bigger concerns. Like, is Dennis Schroeder going to actually contribute on the offensive end? I'm pretty sure he's not going to have another night like he had last night. But can you consistently depend on him? Is Montrezl Harrell going to wake up tomorrow morning and go, you know what? I need to get my offensive game tight. I mean, they need me to score points. Is that really going to happen? Is Kareem Abdul-Drummond's going to say, you know what? They really need me on the offensive side of things. Let me, tighten up my offensive game. I don't think that's going to happen as well. Excuse me. I feel like LeBron James wherever you get from LeBron James, that's what you're going to get from LeBron James. He's going to, I love to hear what Shannon Sharp's going to say on Undisputed. I'm pretty sure, and, to be truthfully honest with you, this is not, the Lakers' loss has little to do with LeBron James because of LeBron James' performance or his skill set. And when they win, it has nothing to do with LeBron James. LeBron James contribute, but LeBron James is not the numero uno reason why the Lakers won. It's not a coincidence that every time Anthony Davis get his numbers, they win. It's not a coincidence. When Anthony Davis is not in the lineup, or if Anthony Davis does not get his numbers, they lose. No matter what anybody else is doing on that roster. No matter if LeBron James is doing on that roster, Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, Now in the regular season, you can get away with that. But in the postseason, your stars are going to have to contribute big. The players that you depend on the most is going to have to play big. Because you're not going to win games with Anthony Davis being off, LeBron James still doing decent numbers, being more facilitator, and the other team and the other players are just not bringing it. You're not gonna win games like that. You're not gonna win series like that. Anyway, I'm up out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.